Spreading the Floor, episode 56. I'm your host, Jacob Koopman, joined by my illustrious co-host,
Nigel Petty Fernandez.
And we got the end of the season coming up fast. Utah Jazz got sent home last night. You always hate to see it for Donovan Mitchell, but a lot of awards are also being announced at the moment. So you got LaMelo Ball, Rookie of the Year. Shout out to Nigel for that prediction, Nostradamus. There's also a little bit of controversy around Anthony Edwards potentially taking that, but I think LaMelo, I mean, he had the media on his side.
Is that you think that Anthony Edwards deserved it?
I think you can make a case.
Yeah, I think you can make a case, but you think Anthony Edwards wins that over LaMelo Ball without the media?
No, because LaMelo Ball has the media on his side.
No media. Get rid of the media.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he was more active. Yeah.
Jeez.
That's me personally, but that's not. Listen,
I respect your opinion. I
listen. I respect yours as well, but that's not what we're here to chop it up about, right?
Right.
So a lot of these awards been announced. Rudy Gobert got Defensive Player of the Year again. Nikola Jokic got MVP. We figured we didn't want to be vanilla. We didn't want to be boring, right?
Right.
We wanted to bring in our own stuff to talk about. Our own award show.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm going to start it off here. I should probably list off the criteria, right?
This is the STF NBA Awards.
The STF NBA Awards. We'll do it at the end of every season.
That's right. There's gonna be a trophy and everything.
Yeah. You know what? Now I'm thinking about it, we should have tallied up each of our predictions, and we should have gotten like the Nostradamus of the year or something. But that's for next year, right? We'll figure that out when we get to it. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I want to go down the criteria now, the different selections, what each category is. So number 1, we got Best Commentator of the Year. Number 2, Best Meme of the Year, obviously an NBA meme. Number 3, Biggest Clown of the Year. Number 4, the Most Fun Player to Watch. Number 5, Second Most Valuable Player, so the guy that got the runner-up to the MVP in both of our humble opinions. Number 6, the biggest letdown of the season. Number 7, favorite episode of the podcast for us recording. Nigel, may I start this off?
You may, my friend.
All right. For the Best Commentator of the Year, it's going to be a fastball down the middle. I'm going Hornets commentators for sure. They just added a great fold to the NBA as a whole, man, and it was just so fun. And you know what? I was almost thinking, too, they almost made the number 2 spot on this list as well, if I'm being completely honest. Because just the memes that they generated. You know, the guys screaming Terry Rozier and LaMelo Ball and all of them. I mean, these guys, and it's funny, I was thinking about this too the other night. They don't really, before this season, they were doing the same thing. They were getting hyped and they were, because I'd watched.
Are you just talking about the Hornets commentators in general?
Yeah, the commentary team for the Hornets.
Okay, well,
Terry Rozier.
Yeah, but that's a guy, and that's a specific one guy who does that. I mean, they're all pretty hyped, but.
Okay, well, yeah, all right. So then that specific Hornets commentator,
Eric Collins. Eric Collins is.
There you go. You know what? Put some respect on his name. Give him a name. Eric Collins is my commentator of the year for obvious reasons, man. He was the amount of times I was just breaking out laughing, looking at my phone, and the play itself wasn't even that hype, but just the energy that man brought on the microphone made the play 3 times as good.
Eric Collins is the unanimous best commentator of the year, and also might take the most improved commentator of the year as well.
Well, that's all. Okay, so let's just have this discussion real quick before we move on. So I watched old Hornets highlights.
Okay.
The other night, and from back when Eric Collins was still working commentary, and he still is working commentary, but back then he was also working commentary. He was the same guy. He was the same get hype in your face, Terry, you know what I'm saying? Doing all that different stuff. But the thing is, once LaMelo, and this is, again, I guess another mark towards LaMelo in his MVP, not MVP conversation, Rookie of the Year conversation, is once LaMelo came there, obviously all the press that follows, people are watching the Hornets, and ipso facto, Eric Collins gets discovered, for lack of a better term. But yeah, I think you could also make a conversation or a case for Eric Collins being most improved commentator of the year because he's finally getting the flowers he deserves.
So did Eric Collins assist LaMelo Ball on the Rookie of the Year award?
Absolutely not. No, the other way around. The other way around. I'm not getting that.
They don't compliment. Their games don't complement each other.
I think they do complement each other. But if Eric Collins wasn't there, I think LaMelo would still get the award because what LaMelo was doing on the court was still very fun to watch. It was just Eric Collins screaming at the top of his lungs in the background on the clips that really pulled it together. So I think they complement to each other, but I don't think Eric Collins being there influenced his MVP or I keep saying MVP, Rookie of the Year candidacy any more or any less. All right.
What a guy.
Want to move on to number 2 here?
Yeah, sure.
All right, we got the best NBA meme of the year. This one for me was really tough. I know it was tough for you too because we were talking before the show. It was tough to find a solid NBA meme in particular that had kind of survived a whole season. Because I guess that's kind of like the nature, and we always talk about it, the nature of the NBA media and the fans is that we're very like knee-jerk, fickle. We move on to the next thing. It's fad after fad after fad. The two most, I guess, recurring ones that I found that made me laugh were the Giannis free throw one. That was a hilarious meme to watch.
That was a great one.
Yeah, a lot of good memes came from that. I did enjoy the RDC. I mean, can we call the RDC memes? Yeah, we can, right?
What do you mean RDC?
RDC World. He does like the LeBron skits. He's like, I'm 36.
Oh, yeah.
I really enjoyed those.
Yeah, those are good. Those are good. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I just saw this one on the train yesterday on my way to Yankee Stadium. The Luka one where he's on Snapchat and he's wearing these like John Lennon glasses and the tag is felt cute, might drop 40 points on your favorite team later. I don't know though, lol. I mean, that was a hilarious one. Maybe that's not a mainstay, but still, I mean, that came pretty close to making me openly, burst out laughing on a train on the way to Yankee Stadium. So that's got to count for something.
Yeah, the Luka memes are really good. I remember, I can't remember if it was from last season or the beginning of the season, but the one where he's talking to the female ref and he's like, I'm falling in love with you.
Yeah.
That was a great one. That if that happened this year, that would have to be my favorite one. But besides that, probably Giannis one takes the cake, but that's more of a playoffs one too. Are we going to do an award show for the playoffs as well? Or
Sure, why not? Yeah,
okay.
we could get that in.
All right, so we'll just talk about regular season right now. So yeah, I'd probably go with the Luka one if that happened this year. I can't remember.
I think that did happen this year. I think
that was the beginning of this year, right?
That was the beginning of this year. Yeah, and that's when we realized that Luka has moves like that. He's nice.
Yeah. Oh no, Luka's a smooth motherfucker for sure.
Honestly, though, he's got to be smooth though, because in my personal opinion, he's all right. You know what? I'm not gonna say anything. Let's just move on. I don't know why I took a shot at Luka there. Just my personal opinion, though.
He's a great hair. He has great hair.
Yeah, no, for sure. And he's very good at basketball. That goes for a lot. That says a lot. All right. Let's go number 3. We got the biggest clown amongst the NBA fandom, the media of the year. Nigel, I want to hear yours first. Because I'm going to go on I already know I'm going to go on a tirade with mine. But go ahead.
I have a little bit. I don't know if mine's a little bit of a hot take, but I think this guy trolled the entire NBA. He created rumors about himself and then came out and absolutely crushed those rumors. I got to go with Blake Griffin.
Wow. That's a dark horse pick.
He hasn't dunked in like 2 years, and he goes to the Nets and he dunks like 20 times for the rest of the season. And he's only on the Nets like for a month. So I think that he trolled the entire NBA. I think he convinced everyone that his trade value was low so that he could go to a good team, try to win a ring before his career's over. And then he went over there and showed people like, no, I can still dunk and it's actually no problem. So I got to go with NBA. He's the biggest clown of the year.
Really? Wow. That I mean, absolutely. I guess.
Runner up for me would probably be like Kyle Kuzma or like Chris Paul or something. But just like Chris Paul clowning people. But, I was thinking about it for long and hard, and I got to go with Blake Griffin, man. He had everyone convinced.
Okay. So I see what's going on now. You had clowning as the verb, not as an adjective.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you can do either one, but
you could do either one. I use the adjective sense. I'm going Stephen A. Smith. Right?
Oh, you're going for all right. We're allowed to include commentators.
Oh no, for sure. I guess I should have made that more clear. You can go for commentators. I went Stephen A. because I think this year was shown more than ever that. I guess this year we were shown more than ever that Stephen A. Smith just absolutely has some of the worst takes on the planet, and that he will at the ready switch his takes around week to week to reflect the interests of the public. And I mean, looking at this Nets team, right? Like the way they started the season and where they are now, I'm pretty sure Stephen A flip-flopped at least 6 or 7 times. So for that, I got to put him there. You know, that I get it. I get that he's kind of carrying the weight single-handedly of ESPN, but still, I got to give it to him. He's and for the way that he handled the Kwame, I mean, he single-handedly sparked, I'm pretty sure, the Kwame Brown. Was that it? Yeah. No, he got caught up in the Kwame Brown controversy and he caught some strays. So I got to give him Clown of the Year for that one.
I think it says a lot that Stephen A is the best person that ESPN has. It's just he just doesn't come close to what is it, to the TNT crew.
Oh yeah, they're goats. They're goated.
Yeah.
They were going to be in
good.
they were going to be in my considerations for commentators. Even though they don't, you know, I was thinking,
they don't really commentate, but yeah.
Well, I was going to do commentators / NBA media personalities, and they were definitely going to make the cut in there. As was Stephen A. Smith, because he talks very well. He's a great orator. He's very entertaining. But when NBA, when ESPN is kind of using you as their personal puppet, you're going to get caught up. And if you talk as much as he does in front of cameras, you're going to get caught up. But still, though, I got to give him Clown of the Year for that. All right, number 4, the most fun player to watch. I had Steph Curry. And the only reason I did not give that award to Kyrie Irving is because Steph was just a little bit more active.
I also had Steph Curry, but I also had I had it tied. I couldn't pick between. I had Steph Curry and Damian Lillard. But if you're going to go with Steph Curry, just for the sake of being diverse, I'm going to go with Damian Lillard. Did you have a runner-up?
My runner-up is probably going to be either. So I was thinking about this on the train, either Kyrie or Damian Lillard. Yes, because Damian Lillard. Immediately after I thought of Steph, I thought of the All-Star game where Steph and Dame were taking turns, seeing how far they could shoot it from half. That was pretty crazy. So that was immediately what I thought of. And so if I had to do like a top 3, I'd probably go Steph, Kyrie, Dame.
I had Steph Curry, Damian, and actually, I know it's a sin, but I chose Trae Young for my third. If I had to have a third.
It's a fun one.
Trae Young is sick.
You might catch some flack from fellow Knicks fans, but
I know it's a sin. I don't know if I could actually say it, but no, he was fun to watch this season.
Is Trae Young your guilty pleasure? Can we say that?
Trae Young is just a hell of a basketball player. He's the next Steph Curry, calling it now. He's going to be the best at what he does one day. And he's just so fun to watch. But I mean, I respect. There was a long time where I hated KD, and I still don't really like him that much. But you got to respect game, and the guy's a monster. I mean, I know we're not getting into it this podcast, but dropped a 49-point triple-double. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that was better than LeBron's 51-point playoff game back in 2018.
No, 100%.
I was watching the whole game, and it was I can't name one other time I've seen someone play better basketball.
It was, it's quite clear that the hate fuels him to do better. And that's, I mean, anyone that's like that in any sport it doesn't even have to be basketball. They're a dangerous athlete. Yeah.
And, I got to respect Kevin Durant's game, even though, I don't really like his personality that much, but that's for another podcast.
Yeah. Well, actually, I also want to say if I had a fourth, it'd be KD. Fun to watch.
Yeah.
That shot that he hit over PJ Tucker last game, insane.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Something out of this world. All right, moving on here. 5, second most valuable player, 2 MVP, as they would shorten it up in the NBA. I had Joel Embiid. I got to keep it funky. I had Joel Embiid. For my money, over the course of the first half of the season, he was my MVP. I think if he had stayed healthy, it would have been a much closer race. Maybe Jokic would have still got it, but I think if Joel hadn't got injured, he's still dominant even after he got injured. But that injury really threw a wrench in his campaign, and he's just been nothing short of terrific, special, amazing.
Whereas the MVP award is kind of the best player and the best team, I took it upon myself to call out the best player, in my opinion, just in the league, or the person who was actually most valuable to the team. I had to go with Steph Curry.
I figured you were going to go Steph.
Yeah, I had to go Steph Curry. I mean, he is just, I remember growing up watching basketball, when I was an early teenager, and even my mid-teens, and it's just like I hated Steph. Like I just had to root against him. But as I got older, I'm really like, wow, this guy is really one of the best. He's going to go down in history as one of the best players of all time.
you always have to. I think we talked about this. I don't know if this episode made the air because a lot of our episodes recently just haven't been due to me. Obviously, it's on me, but they just haven't been, in my personal opinion, good enough to make the airwaves. But I think we had talked about that. It's like there are certain players you can't stand them. Trae Young, Knicks fans, you can't stand them, but at the same time, that they take down your team, and at the same time, you're looking at them like, oh my god, they're talented.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
mean,
god, to do what they're doing is crazy.
that's how you know that you're one of the best in the NBA because you got a ton of haters. You got LeBron, Kobe, even Michael. I mean, we look back at Michael Jordan now with a lot of respect, but at the time, everyone hated Michael. Everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Jazz fans hate Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Jazz fans hate Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Our Suns fans hate Kobe. Sorry. Jazz fans hate Michael Jordan. Warriors fans hate LeBron. So.
I'm pretty sure Jazz fans hate anyone that's not Myers Leonard, but
I mean, a lot of people hate LeBron. You got Celtics fans hate LeBron.
I'm kidding around, but yeah. No, I know what you mean. You have
Spurs fans hate LeBron.
Yeah.
Warriors fans hate LeBron.
Yeah, take your pick. I mean,
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying though, and I agree. I think to get to that point, you have to be universally hated in the NBA by every single franchise's fans. You have to at least have sunk in each franchise once. So that's how you have to know that that's how you kind of know that you're nice with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hawks fans hate LeBron.
Really hate LeBron. Shout out to
Celtics fans hate LeBron, bro. Toronto fans, my god.
I think Toronto fans might hate LeBron. Tie between Toronto and Atlanta. Those guys absolutely cannot.
I gotta go Toronto and Celtics. Well,
because they call it now. I haven't heard of another franchise that LeBron has dominated that has a nickname for the way he dominated them. LeBronto.
Yeah.
There's no like LeBron Lanta. You know what I'm saying? There's not like LeBronix. So I gotta go Toronto in that regard there. But yeah, you have to be nice with it, be hated.
The reason I say the Celtics is because LeBron took down two different Celtics eras. He took them down in the Paul Pierce era and in the Jason Tatum era.
Yeah. What a guy. What an absolute champ. Out in the first round this year, though. All right. Okay. Speaking of the Celtics, biggest letdown of the season. Mine was the Celtics and the way they played. Apparently, I just 30 minutes before recording this, it's funny. I actually read something that there was some friction in the locker room, which might have been what caused the lack of competitive and really decent basketball. I'm just going to keep it funky. Like, I mean, watching the Celtics this year as a fan, I mean, I'm an offshore Celtics fan. So when I'm not rooting for Oklahoma City, I'm rooting for the Celtics. And man, watching them was just, a part of me died inside because I always used to watch it with Jerry. And now it was like, Jerry doesn't want to watch the game because the Sox are on, when they overlapped. It's like, bro, the Sox are terrible. And yet Jerry would rather watch the Sox than the Celtics. What does that tell you about the Celtics? They don't have a team identity. So I had to go Celtics for the biggest letdown of the season. I'll give you my runner-up in a second, but you go ahead, my friend. Go.
I have my biggest letdown in a player and my biggest letdown in a team. For the team, has to be the Washington Wizards, man. I know they did well towards the second half of the season, but that team was just, I mean, you got Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal. Right. When the season started, I was so excited to watch them play, and then they lost like 12 in a row.
Yeah, it's tragic, man. It's and I know you're a Russell Westbrook guy. So am I. Yeah. I know there's that through line of me hating on Russell Westbrook. So it definitely was, and you know why it hurt a lot more?
Why?
Because Beal was on that team.
I know. I wanted to see Beal. I mean, he did do so good. I mean, he was literally a walking bucket the entire season. But
but it
didn't really translate to wins.
It just didn't matter in the end. And I don't know if that's on partially. I think it's on a little bit of everyone, right? It's partially on Beal, it's partially on the owners, it's partially on the management, whatever it is, the fans, the team. I mean, the entire situation was just a big letdown. So I definitely understand what you mean. For me, a runner-up for the biggest letdown of the year would probably be the Hornets the Knicks not making it longer into the playoffs. I would have really liked to have seen the Knicks make more of a campaign there and see what they could have done. But in the end, you get taken down. But if you're going to get taken down by anybody, the Atlanta Hawks are not a bad team to get taken down by. Nate McMillan, excuse me, is a hell of a head coach. And that team is a young, star-studded squad. So there's no shame in that for me.
Yeah, and they're also taking the 76ers to seven games.
Yeah,
which I think says a lot.
Gonna say so. That should say something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just happy to see the Knicks make it to the playoffs. I'm not worried about getting the second round yet. The Knicks have only made it to the second round once in the last 20 years. So, I was not that let down from it. But my runner-up, I picked a player, had to be Kyle Kuzma. I was hoping that with LeBron and AD out, this was really his season to come out and shine. And unfortunately, he didn't. So now I kind of lost hope. I had a little bit of hope in me left to saying, like, I think he can be a Jason Tatum type player if it really just took that step. But no, I lost hope. I think they should trade him and get something better out of it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate to see.
He's not even that great of a role player,
I think he's just hot and cold. I think you know what? Maybe if he's shipped off to another team, I feel like he's one of those players that might have a renaissance. That's my prediction about Kyle Kuzma. Because from what I've seen, it seems like he's very hot and cold.
I think he do better on another team. I think
schematically he'll shine. He might be like a Lonzo Ball type. We got number 7 now.
That's right.
My favorite, maybe not my favorite segment of the episode, but it should be a good one, right? I had about 3 episodes. I'm going to add a 4th on because I just thought of one here live. It is our favorite episodes of the podcast that we recorded over the course of the season. It feels like a while ago now that we started this season. And even I was talking with my buddy the other day, the FIBA tournament. When I was at Yankee Stadium, I was talking with the other intern that I work with. He goes, yeah, you remember that FIBA team? And I said, yeah, dude, that's like when I started my podcast.
Yeah.
So It's just time flies. I can't remember what number we had started this season on. I think it might have been
40, 35.
Was it really?
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And maybe I think it was actually, it might have been closer to like 25 or something, I think.
25.
Yeah, because remember,
we were knocking them out this year for sure.
Yeah, we were very consistent because 25 was the Oklahoma finesse. That was a really fun episode. I liked that episode a lot. I liked, what else I got here? I liked episode 40, Should the NBA Change its Logo? That was a really good conversation.
That was a great one, yeah.
I really enjoyed that one. I liked episode 38, Bronze Sexuals. That one was just a lot of off the cuff, blatant, just not knowing what the hell we're talking about, but talking about it anyways. Maybe I'll just speak for myself. That was a lot of that for me. And then episode 37, Betting on Thongs, that was right around, I think that was the day after or a few days after the Super Bowl. That one was a really fun one. And then the one we did in this basement studio here where we talked about Courtside Karen was a really fun one for me.
Yeah, that was a good one. I think Courtside Karen was a good one. I think our true colors shine there. I also like the one that you just mentioned where we talked about the one before Bronze Sexuals. What was that one again? Oh, the NBA logo one. I really like that one.
Episode
that was
40.
But I have to go. My favorite one was 48 Trades You Never Expect. I think your creative side really came out that episode. I think that was one of probably the most genuinely funny episodes
I appreciate it, man.
we've ever had. I really like being a part of that one for sure.
I was gonna go with that one, but I didn't want to be like self-serving.
No,
I didn't want to be like episode 48 because I killed that shit. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I couldn't do that.
That was a good one. I really liked that one. That had to be my favorite. But the Courtside Karen one was also great because I was like trying to defend her, and you were like, absolutely not, and I was just like, bro, she's hot.
I mean, listen. That goes for something in this world. But yeah, man. My whole thing, I guess, with that was like, if you pick on the wrong guy, I think I'd said like if the guy's pushing carts at Target and he's having a bad day, you want to do that to the wrong person. But I did say shout out to her for protecting her husband. I thought that was sick.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a great episode. But no, it's been a hell of a season. The playoffs are halfway through. We'll probably do this again for the end of the playoffs and just do our playoff ones. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, and then just recap the playoffs as a whole. Obviously, I know we got about how much time we got left here? We got about 5 minutes. We could just talk about Chris Paul, our thoughts of the playoffs in general. I watched the Clippers-Jazz game last night. Super, super sad for Donovan Mitchell. He looked really crushed. But I think he'll come back better from it.
I agree. I mean, you got to go through those as a young superstar. LeBron went through it. Steph Curry went through it. Michael Jordan went through it. The only person that didn't really go through that was Kobe.
Kobe was just
Shaq
different.
on his team right from the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, Kobe was just built different though.
Yeah, and the hard part for me was just that they were up by 20 points. Oh God.
Yeah.
Hold on. Technical difficulties over here. They were up by 20 points throughout the game, and then it was so hard watching him just like look at the scores, like, oh, now they're down by 10, oh, now they're down by 5, oh, now they're up by 10, and you could just see that he was just burnt. You know what I'm saying? And he put on a hell of a performance, put up a lot of points on the board. He was all around just probably one of the best players on the court, but Chris Paul, they just came out and they just showed him what's up. So
Terrence Mann missed 6 shots in entirety that entire game, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, Terrence Mann stepped up. The Clippers just deserved it.
Yeah.
Paul George was playing great. Terrence Mann playing phenomenal. The whole team was just very cohesive. They were making their shots. Even at the end, I knew that the game was doomed when Patrick Beverly sunk 2
started
threes
hitting threes.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, it's over. It was like, it's over. It doesn't matter.
I was like, I don't need to watch anymore. We're in an alternate timeline if Pat Bev is hitting threes. There's no way. This game is done. And he hit 2 back-to-back, I'm pretty sure, on Rudy Gobert. I mean, Rudy Gobert was just people were taking turns on Rudy Gobert. It was so sad to see.
Yeah, it was bad. Donovan Mitchell made one crazy 3-pointer at the end of the game, I think it brought it back within 2 or something, or 3, but they just couldn't contain him.
No, could not. I also want to talk about Chris Paul out with COVID protocol. I don't know what this means for the Suns now, because now they got to go up against a Clippers team. I think when the Suns are fully healthy, they can take down the Clippers. I still think that. But without Chris Paul, that's a big hit, obviously. I mean, I don't need to say that. Anyone that's listening that knows NBA basketball at all knows that Chris Paul not on that team is a team without serious leadership and on-the-court presence.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember the Clippers are also down a big piece in Kawhi Leonard.
That's true, too.
So I think it's going to be a pretty good matchup. I do think that the Clippers would come out of that series, though, with Chris Paul out. And I also think that if both teams were 100% healthy, I think the Clippers would take it anyway as well. I think that's.
I know we've always differed on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I said in the beginning of the season, we talked about how COVID was going to be a like an injury type thing that affects games and winners and everything. And now we're seeing that COVID's actually going to affect the finals. Which is the first time that a disease or pandemic has done something like that. So I think we were 100% right. I'm not celebrating that's happening, but
breaking history.
Yeah, I know, but I think we called it. It's a shame, but you got to do better for sure if you're Chris Paul.
I don't even necessarily think it was just like a break or anything, or like he went out to a bar type of situation. I think he just got extremely unlucky, because Chris Paul does not seem at all like the type of guy to put himself in harm's way just to go out to a bar, especially not when he's because Chris Paul doesn't have a ring yet. This is probably his. This might be a little bit of a hot take. This might be Chris Paul's best shot at getting a ring. So I don't think there's a chance in hell that guy would, risk going out and catching COVID potentially just to have a good time. That leads me to believe that there was something internal going on. I hope he's okay. I know I'd heard some conspiracy theories about them postponing the series, but in reality, you got to keep things pushing. So hopefully the Suns can have Chris Paul back, man. And because it's just not only is it better for the Suns, but it's better for us as fans to watch.
I agree.
Chris Paul is fun, man. I saw when he juked Jokic out of his shoes with like a head. I don't know what that was, but like a fake pass to a sham god or something. Just crazy. He's fun to watch, man.
Yeah, the Nuggets definitely did not go out gracefully.
No, they did not. No.
That's the maddest I've ever seen Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, and all of his 3 brothers from Serbia on the sidelines, like straight out of a Serbian mob.
Yeah, they were. I don't know. That was a little bit hard to watch, but you got to give props to Chris Paul. He's a big part of that Suns team. Hopefully he'll come back soon and ready to go.
Yeah. All righty, guys. With that has been episode 56, Spreading the Floor. This is definitely going up. Do not worry about it. We will see you guys in the next one, probably previewing the finals matchups, I'd imagine, or maybe, what we think the finals matchups are going to be. Just off the top of my head, that's what I could probably think about us talking about next. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for the next episode of the JCP, and we'll see you guys there. Peace.
Peace out.